Here we are. I want to get to someone that's involved in the middle of this Glendale debate, and I want to get to some phone callers as well. But one of the people in the middle of this, of course, the cops and the firefighters, and the guy that heads up the association that represents the police officers in Glendale. It's the Glendale Law Enforcement Association. His name is Justin Harris. He's been in the meetings today and what's going on in the city. I want to catch up with him and find out what's been going on. Welcome back to the show. Justin, are you there?
Yeah, hey, Mike, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. First of all, tell us what's been going on in this meeting with the city of Glendale today.
Well, basically, the city's been kind of going through the overall budget process, just showing how significant these cuts could potentially become if we have the lost revenue, kind of giving a best-case scenario and then the worst-case scenario. And this really isn't about fear-mongering and scare tactics. This is the reality that we're living in here in the city of Glendale based on one of the worst economies we've seen in, the last, 70 years, declining revenues, declining property values, in combination with, the lower tax that we had. So what we're looking at right now is just addressing these issues and trying to address it from the police side of, a reduction in our workforce and how can we keep our officers on the streets, keep crime down. And this is a real problem that our city's experiencing right now.
And see, that makes sense to me, but why is it? Tell me why it is that the critical things like public safety and libraries are going to suffer when it seems to me that in every city budget there are a lot of other areas that could be cut first and deeper before public safety.
Well, that's part of the process that the council is going through today. Is they're trying to do as much as they can to prevent those services from being cut. However, because the decline in revenue has been so large, they've got no other choice but to look at public safety. And what's alarming with that is our numbers are already down. We've already seen a reduction in our workforce of approximately 66 police officers over the last 4 years. And we never caught up to the levels we should have been, so we were kind of in a position where we were already behind the curve. And now because of this overall budget that we're looking at, we're looking at falling even further behind the curve and reducing our numbers even further. And quite honestly, Mike, this couldn't come at a worse time in our economy, where right now, recently, based on our own CALEA report that was just published or came out last year, City of Glendale right now is the number one in the state overall in theft. We're number 3 in the valley in violent crimes. We're number 1 in the state per capita regarding auto thefts. And we are honestly looking to become one of the first police departments in decades to physically be laying off police officers. And this comes at a time when in the last 5 years, we've just had 2 of our very own Glendale officers murdered in the line of duty. And, this doesn't bode well with the public. It doesn't bode well with the police officers and our members. And we want the public to understand that this isn't fear-mongering. These aren't scare tactics. This is the reality of the world we're living in.
And see, I everything you said, I can't argue the statistics. I agree with you. Here's where I may differ with you a little bit. And this is if I'm in charge of this budget or if I'm one of the council members and I'm looking at those crime statistics and the death of police officers, I am saying that no matter what happens, our first responsibility is public safety as a city. That gets fully funded first. We're going to drive the crime numbers down, and we're going to make sure that, A, we have enough police officers on the street, and those police officers are going to have the equipment they need to do their jobs. That's the primary responsibility of government. So before we do anything else, you will have what you need to make sure the citizens of that city are protected and safe.
I agree with you, Mike. 100%, and I share that same philosophy with you. We just don't know where this city council is going to go in regards to how far they're willing to cut other departments before they get to the police department, because quite honestly, we've been facing a shortage of police officers already for the last 5 years.
Right.
And we've never recovered from that. So, again, those decisions are above our head, but I agree with you 100% that philosophy and public safety and keeping our community safe is the number one priority for government.
Yeah, and I think that is their primary responsibility. Justin, I've got to take a news break. Was there anything else before I let you go? Tell me, is there anything else in that meeting that happened or you think potentially is going to happen that people either in Glendale or the rest of the valley needs to hear about what happened this afternoon?
That from our side, that pretty much covers what we were looking at. Again, this is only the first of many discussions that the city council is going to be having, and we really need to get the public behind us and let the city of Glendale and the council members know public safety is our number one priority, and we need to do whatever we can to keep our public safety whole, given the situation that we've been experiencing the last 5 years. And quite honestly, it doesn't look like we have any light at the end of the tunnel anytime soon.
Okay, well, officer, I hope you'll keep us informed on what's going on with the association, what's going on in these meetings, and the fight you're having to fight to make sure you have what you need on the streets of Glendale. But I do appreciate you checking in because I know you're just walking out of that meeting.
You bet, Mike. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
All right, thanks. That is Officer Justin Harris. He's with the Glendale Law Enforcement Association. And I want listen, your calls. We're going to get to these guys, especially the people that disagree with me on this. All important topics because as goes Glendale right now, other Valley cities the same way. This is a symptom of a bigger problem of local governments not living up 100% to their primary responsibilities, trying to be all things to all people to some degree, and everyone suffers. It is a mismanagement of money, and in the end, you're the taxpayer. We, in the end, will be the solution to this problem if we're willing to open our eyes and do something. More on this, but especially your phone calls, next.